Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to All Praise Picks. Today we're looking at the WNBA, and it's the Commissioner's Cup Championship game where the Minnesota Lynx will be playing against the New York Liberty in New York on June 25th, 2024. Essentially, what the Commissioner's Cup game is essentially similar to the in-season tournament for the NBA, but instead of the players winning money, they're actually playing for charity. So the Minnesota Lynx are playing for gender justice, which empowers gender equality initiatives around the U.S. and around the world. And the Liberty are playing for Women Creating Change, which empowers underserved women and change makers within the New York area. So I would encourage you guys to look up those initiatives and consider donating to them before making your parlays, as they're supporting great causes. But currently the Lynx are 13-3, which is first place in the Western Conference, and the Liberty are 15-3, which is first place in the Eastern Conference. So this should be a great game overall against two of the best teams in the WNBA currently. I got a few parlays for you guys on BetMGM. As always, I'll break down the lines, give you my thoughts, and hopefully if you tap in, we can all win. So this is the first parlay that I have at plus 120. It's a 4-leg parlay, and I do lean towards the Lynx in this game. One, just because of their overall offensive and defensive numbers in the last 5 games, but especially their defense. Over the last 5 games, they've been the number 1 ranked defense in the league, and the Liberty, they've been number 5 overall, but I think the Lynx should have a good chance of holding the Liberty under their usual point total and keeping this game close, which is why I took the total game to go under 173.5 points, and also for the Lynx to cover a 15.5 point spread, essentially not to lose this game by more than 16 points. And I do think that there's a good chance that they do win this game, even though the game is in New York. The game is in New York, but they're not playing in the Liberty's usual home arena, the Barclays Center, and that's because of the NBA draft, which is scheduled to happen tomorrow. Excited for Brian to be drafted, but this game will be played at the UBS Arena, which is 20 miles east on Long Island. So this technically is a home game for the Liberty in terms of playing in their home state, but not necessarily in their home arena. But regardless, I think that the Liberty and Lynx should play a very close game in this one. In their last game, the Lynx won 84-67, which had a point total of 151 points, and they did play in Minnesota. But over the last 5 games, the Lynx have been number 1 in opponent points per game at 71, and the Liberty are number 8 in that same stat at 84.8 points per game in the last 5 games. But also for the season, the the Lynx are giving up the number 2 fewest opponents' points per game at 73.8. And I think that the Lynx also defend the 3-point shot very well, which is one of the mainstays of the Liberty's offense. So they should be able to keep this game close and under 173.5 points. In terms of scorers for this game, I'm leaning towards Breanna Stewart to have a pretty good game. For the season, she's averaging 19.7 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And in her last game versus the Lynx, she had 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. And she's gone over 20 PR combined, so points and rebounds combined, for 9 straight games, and over 20 points and assists combined in 4 straight games, but also in 6 of her last 9 games. So she should be able to get like 15 points and 5 rebounds in this game. And I think because her and Ionescu are the best scoring options, even if Lainey Hamilton and Vandersloot are scheduled to return, which at the time of recording this video, they are likely to play, I think that Breanna Stewart is the number 1 option on offense for the Liberty in this game, and she should have a pretty good game overall. So that's why I took her at 20 plus points and rebounds combined and 20 plus points and assists combined. I could see her getting just a few easy assists off of 3-point shots to her teammates, but also I do lean towards her points in this game and think that she, as long as she gets over 15 plus points in this game, she should be able to cover both of these lines. But at plus 120, if you bet 1 unit, for example, have 1 unit is $100 just for simplicity's sake, you'll have 120% return on your investment, which is more than double and is great. And I just advise you guys to have financial consciousness and just an overall understanding of your bankroll when deciding to make these parlays if you do decide to place the bet. So this is the next parlay that I have at plus 145, and I can just break down the lines in order. So I have Jonquel Jones to have over 5 rebounds in this game. She's gone over this mark in 13 straight games, and it'll be interesting to see how she plays with Lainey Hamilton scheduled to return, as Hamilton is a pretty good rebounder in her own right. But I still think that Jockwell Jones should be able to get 5+ rebounds in this game, as I expect this game to be more of a defensive game, like I mentioned. Also for the season, Jockwell Jones is averaging 16.8 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 3.4 assists. So she should be able to get her usual rebound marks, especially if Lainey Hamilton, who is returning from an injury for the past 2 days, doesn't play her usual minutes. I think that Jocko Jones can step up again and have 5+ rebounds in this game. So I mentioned Brianna Stewart to have 5+ rebounds, and I think that she has a pretty good chance of getting her rebounds as well, even if Lainey Hamilton plays. But I also have Sabrina Ionescu to have 20+ points, rebounds, and assists in this game, as well as 15+ points. So she's gone over 15 points in 7 straight games, and on the season she's averaging 19.3 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 6.7 assists. So that's a combined total of just under 30 actually. But I think in this game, especially if Courtney Vandersloot returns from her absence due to personal reasons, I think that she'll take on more of a scoring role in this game. I also look for her to bounce back from her poor shooting performance versus the Lynx in the last game, where she had 13 points on 5 of 14 shooting. And I think being back in her home state and with her home crowd cheering her on should definitely help, especially since she's been on a pretty hot streak in terms of her offensive game lately. I also have Nafisa Collier to have over 25+ points, rebounds, and assists. So she's gone over this mark in 14 straight games. In her last game versus the Liberty, she had 15 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. And for the season, she's been a great rebounder overall, as well as just the number 1 point scorer for the Lynx. Her season numbers are just under 21 points per game, just over 10 rebounds per game, and at 3.5 assists per game. So similar to Brianna Stewart and Ionescu, I think that Collier will be more of a scorer in this game, especially if with Lainey Hamilton being back in. I think they'll probably attack her and just to see how well she's playing off of her injury that led her to miss the last 2 games. But I think even if Lainey Hamilton plays the entire game, I think Collier should be able to get her numbers in this one. The next line I have is for Alana Smith to have over 5 points. For the season, Smith is averaging 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.2 assists. So she's been a pretty good scorer for the Lynx. But in her last game versus the Liberty, she had 15 points on 5 of 9 field goals. And she's gone over 5 points in 14 out of 16 games this season, and over 8 points in 13 out of 16 games this season. So I think if she gets her open looks, especially from 3-point range, really all she needs to do is knock down 1 3 and 1 field goal from the inside the arc to get over this 5-point mark. But I think she should have a pretty good game, similar to her last game, where I think the Lynx are going to attack the Liberty, especially from the outside, off of kickouts from Collier and from Courtney Williams to Alana Smith. So I think as long as Alana Smith can get her shot falling, she should be able to get at least 5 points in this game. And I also mentioned Courtney Williams before in terms of assisting numbers, but I do have her over 15+ points, rebounds, and assists in this game. For the season, she's averaging 10.4 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. And in her last game versus Liberty, she had 16 combined PRAs with 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. And I expect her to have a better game in this one, as she's been playing better lately. She's gone over this 15+ PRA mark in 7 out of her last 11 games, and that is since her last game versus the Liberty. So I do think, especially with the high stakes of the charity nature of this game, as well as wanting to beat the number 1 team in your opposing conference, I think Courtney Williams should play very well in this game and should get over 15+ points, rebounds, and assists by having just a great overall game in these categories. I also have the Liberty to go under 95 points in this game. As I mentioned before, the Lynx defense has been playing very well, and I don't think that'll change at all, even playing on the road in New York. The Liberty, in their own right, have been playing very well offensively, but they haven't really been playing teams on the defensive caliber of the Minnesota Lynx, and I think I just lean more towards a lower scoring game, given that this game is for charity, and there's a lot more on the line than just records in this game. But at plus 145, if you bet one unit, you'll have 145% return on your investment. And as always, I would just advise you guys to have financial consciousness and overall bankroll management when deciding to place these bets if you do decide to place them with me. So these next two parlays are similar to the previous parlay, but the only difference is that I have the, instead of taking the Liberty under points, I have the Lynx to cover the 16-point spread for the game and a 10-point spread for the game. As I mentioned before, I'm leaning towards the Lynx to at least keep this game close. I could see both teams winning this game, so it is a either way, or a game that can go either way, but I do lean towards the better defensive team in this one, especially since the Lynx beat them so handily in their last game. The Lynx won 84-67, so they won by 17 points, and I don't see the Liberty like essentially making up a 20 to 30 point spread, especially since the Lynx have been playing so well defensively as of late. But at plus 140 and plus 200, if you bet one unit, that's 140% or a 200% return on your investment. But you already know, have financial consciousness and bankroll management when deciding to place these bets if you do decide. But I just wanted to include these two parlays just in case you were, for example, leaning towards the offense in this game. But I also think that even if it is a high-scoring offensive game, the Lynx should be able to keep up with the Liberty's high-powered offense. And then this is the next parlay I have at plus 250. And it's really just an accumulation of what I said before, but just leaning more towards individual player stats. So I have the Lynx at plus 12.5. So essentially not for them to lose the game by more than 13 points, as well as for the Liberty to still score under 95 points. I could see this game being like a 78-82 game. And it's a go either way game, so I could see the Liberty winning that or the Lynx winning that. But I do see that the game was lower scoring than usual, but also a closer game overall. But I also have Breanna Stewart to have 20 plus points and rebounds. As I mentioned before, I'm leaning towards her points in this game, but I think that she's been a solid rebounder all year and had 11 rebounds in her last game, and she's gone over 20 PRs in 9 straight games. So I do think that this is the 10th game that she goes over this mark. And in doing so, she probably would have to get over 5 rebounds. So I included that line as well. And then I have Courtney Williams to have 4 assists. For the season, she's averaging 5.5 assists. And I just think that in this game, she should be able to, get a lot of passes out to the 3-point line to Alana Smith and McBride, but also inside to Collier and to Alana Smith as well inside. But I think that her 4+ assist line is pretty doable as long as she can get over 1 assist per quarter, which I do think that she's able to do so. But I also have Nafisa Collier to have over 30 PRAs. I'm leaning more towards just her to have a great offensive game and for her to put the team on her back essentially in order for them to win the game. But I also think that Alana Smith could have 8+ points in this game too. As I mentioned, she's gone over 8+ points in the last 13 of 16 games. So as long as she's getting open looks from the 3-point line as well as from the field, and she probably should get it at least 2 free throw attempts in this game. So really it's just asking her to score 6 to 7 points from the field and to make her free throws, which I do think that she's the caliber of player that can get out early and be able to score in volume. So I'm looking for her to do so in this game. But at plus 250, it's essentially just a higher value play than the previous 3 parlays that I showed you guys. At plus 250, if you invest 1 unit, you have a return of 250%, which is more than triple. But I would just advise you guys to have financial consciousness and an overall understanding of your bankroll when deciding to place this bet, if you do decide to place this bet. And I would just emphasize this is a riskier bet than the previous to due to the higher odds. And then this is something else I'm trying out too. So with the news of Connie Vandersloot returning, I was looking into Sabrina Ionescu's assist numbers, and I honestly think that her assist numbers in this game are just a little bit too high for what I would expect her to have. I think that she could have like 3 to 5 assists in this game. So at the very top of the screen, you can see like I have her at under 6.5 assists at minus 130. I had to wait until there was definitive news on Connie Vandersloot returning, and at the time of recording this video, she is expected to play. So I put 1 unit on that one to return 76% of the investment, but I also made these parlays having Ionescu going under 6 assists in each of them, but also just combining a few of the stats that I favored in the game. At plus 195 for the 2 parlays on the left side, and then at plus 200 on the parlay on the far right side. Pretty just good overall return on investment, but I did put just a quarter unit on each of these, so that's why you can see it's $25 instead of the usual 100 for 1 unit. But yeah, if you guys do decide to place these bets, I would just advise you guys to just what they call like put a sprinkle on it, like put a little bit instead of putting a whole unit on it. But if you feel comfortable putting a whole unit on it, I would just think it through before deciding to place this bet. But looking deeper into the numbers of how the Liberty play with Connie Vandersloot and without. So before Vandersloot's absence, due to personal reasons, she had over 4 assists in 9 out of 8 games and over 6 assists in 5 out of her 9 games. And in comparison, Ionescu, she averaged 5.3 assists per game with Vandersloot, but without Vandersloot, she averaged 8.4 assists, so a full 3 assist jump per game, which is pretty significant, given that Vandersloot only missed, I think, 8 games due to personal reasons. But Ionescu, she went under the under 6.5 assist mark in 7 out of 12 games with Vandersloot. So I think, as I mentioned before, I think Ionescu would just be more of a scoring option in this one. And with her matchup against the Lynx are averaging or are allowing the lowest amount of assists per opponent per game so far this season, at 18.2. And in her last game versus Lynx, Ionescu only had 1 assist, and Connie Vandersloot played that game and had 6 assists. So I just think that overall, this matchup does not favor Ionescu assists, and that's why I took her to have under 6.5 and under 5.5 for the 3 parlays that you see, as well as in this next parlay. This is probably just like a super value parlay that I would call it. So I have an under 6 assists for Ionescu, but also I have Breanna Stewart and Collier to have over 20 plus points and rebounds combined for each of them. And I also have Ionescu to have over 15 points, and for each team to score under 91.5 points in this game, and for the Lynx to keep this game within 10 points by the end of the game. But at plus 500, it's just a great value parlay. But I only put a quarter unit on this parlay just because of the nature of the higher odds, and I don't usually place bets of this high odds, but I think it was just a good spot with Ionescu to have under her assist, and it'll be exciting to see if she's able to get under this assist mark. Well, obviously, 1, because the parlay would likely hit, but 2, just to see if the game theory overall matches what I think happens in the game. But yeah, those are the parlays that I have. Appreciate you guys for watching. You can watch this game on Amazon Prime. They're not a sponsor, but it would be fun to watch just because it's 2 of the best teams in WNBA squaring off in the Commissioner's Cup championship. So I would encourage you guys to watch this game. And yeah, appreciate you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more WNBA and MLB bets coming out later this week. And until then, peace out.